Welcome to this Photoshop tutorial where we're going to teach you how to make a caricature. And so the first thing to do is to find an image or a person that you want to make a caricature of. So it could be yourself, it could be a family member, it could be something on the internet. And once you've found that image, what we want to do is basically accentuate the head, accentuate the smile and the teeth, maybe the eyes as well, and basically give it this sort of hand-drawn look as well. So as you look for images, and I've gone for Mark Zuckerberg here, you might be able to find something where he's sort of smiling, sort of looking sort of roughly head on into the camera, and having a little bit of the body as well, because then that will give you the ability to match the head, sort of reduce the size of the body and make the head that much larger. If you don't see the body, then you're going to have trouble with that. So given this is already a PNG, I'm going to just save this image. Now, if you don't find yours as a PNG, as lucky as I did, then you may have to cut it out, and we'll talk about that in a second. So I've just saved it over here. And I'll just be bringing it into Photoshop here. There we go. And so I've got my image here. As I mentioned, if you need to cut things out, okay, you'll have to select your person. And then what I'd like you to do is create a new layer with them on it. So that you've got basically just like this here. You'll have your background layer, okay. And you can get rid of all that background because we're going to put a plain color in there, and then your person cut out there. Okay, so that's mine here. What we want to do next is it's pretty simple here. We just want to take the head and put it on a new layer. So what I'm going to do is, because I've cut this out here with the background, I'm simply going to draw a box around the head, getting the neck, part of the neck there, and a little bit of sort of the shoulders. So you don't have to cut just the face out, and making sure we're in the right layer. And then I'm just basically going to make a new layer via a copy so that his head is sitting in that new layer. Okay. With his head selected and making sure your transform controls are on, I'm just going to make this a little bit larger so that. Now, afterwards, I might come down to this bottom layer here and just pull the body down a little bit, just so that we've got a bit more room for the head here. Okay, so just bringing the head and bringing that over. Now, once that is done, what we want to do is grab our liquify tool. So our liquify tool, I'm sure you've used this before, it's a lot of fun, is up in the filters, and we just click on liquify. Should bring up another window here. I believe it's all the options now appear. If not, there might be something that says show advanced. I don't see that anymore. That was the old style. Just make sure your preview's on there so we can sort of see what we're doing. Now the idea is to grab kind of these two tools here first. So your bloat tool and then the pucker tool, and the bloat tool basically makes things larger. So what we want to do is sort of focus on the eyes, and this probably is a bit of an internet meme already. And then also for the teeth as well. So you might have to play around a little bit to get the. It's just looking pretty good here. And then we can sort of reduce the sides of the mouth too, and that sort of helps accentuate that. You can play around, I'm just doing this quickly here, but if you want to make the nose a bit bigger, you can. If you want to make the ears bigger, you can. Now I'll talk about the move tool here in a second. Okay, and then you can grab this tool here, the forward warp tool, and you can bring things in. So this will again sort of accentuate the neck here and the face. So I'm just sort of bringing these in. We'll deal with that after. Again, I'm doing a little bit quick here, and I can pull them out too. Okay, just to accentuate that. Maybe pull out the ears a bit, stretch them. And again, it's sort of up to you. Okay? We're not trying to make him look alien. It's supposed to be I'm probably making him a bit more alien than I should, but we're just trying to accentuate those features. Okay. You might look at the forehead. Okay, just sort of bring that out a little bit. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry, Mark Zuckerberg. Okay, all in the interest of having fun here. Okay, so we've got that there. So yes. Okay, so he's on top. His head's on top there. That's how he used to be. Now this is what he looks like. What we want to do is kind of line up as best we can the bottom here. If we have to in the end, we can sort of fix up this background too. I'm going to just do the image here, and I'm going to do edit, transform, and I'm going to use the the warp tool to pull this down and just sort of match up a little bit of the neck with the shoulder there as best I can. And again, you might need to spend a little bit more time than me, but something kind of like that to pop that in there. Now, this here isn't the best. I'll see if we can fix that up after. It might look okay when we do the oil painting filter. There's a little bit maybe along the sides. I could probably duplicate this bottom layer just so I've got that original, and then just come in on this bottom layer, grab my eraser for the moment, or do a mask, up to you. I'm just going to grab my eraser and then just sort of come in and make sure there's nothing there. So on that layer, I guess there's nothing there. Oh, this one here, I'm just going to turn that off. There, so now I've erased that. Yeah. And there's a little bit of that going on. Okay, so that we've, whoops, just sort of making sure that there's no edges there. Okay, that side, oops, I'm erasing. I want to keep that there. So this must be coming from here. There we go. Okay. Like I said, on this layer here, edit, warp, you might have to do it a couple times just to get it to line up better. And then just erase. So that's probably a little bit better there. Okay. No, well, maybe not. Control Z. I'd have to play around a little bit more here. Let's just go over. Let me pause this and see what I can do. So I've improved this section right here. It's not perfect, but good enough for now. Now what we want to do is put a gradient overlay in behind. So what I'm going to do is add a new layer and just place it in behind the head and the body. And then we'll just fill that with white. So we can do the old ways that we've done before. Just grab your paint bucket and put it in there. Now to do the gradient, I'm going to do a slightly different way. I'm going to click on here, hit the gradient overlay, turn that on, and then you can sort of play with it here. So this is the overlay. Maybe what I'll do is I'll reverse that, and then maybe take this and just play around a little bit and see. Something like that maybe. Whatever you like to do. Okay? Not a big deal. It's up to you. Looking more alien all the time. Alright, so I'm going to create a new layer at the very, very, very top. Put that up there. And I'm basically going to put everything into that layer. Now, hopefully that bottom one won't show up. Let's just see. If I have to, I can get rid of that bottom one. So what I'm going to do is go Control, Alt, Shift, and E. And it puts everything into this top layer. Okay, so it looked like it did a fine job. Okay, everything's in this layer now. We're going to do one more thing here. Now I'm thinking about fixing this up, but we'll see how it looks. We might have to fix that up later. I'm going to add a image adjustment. And the image adjustment I'm going to do is a shadow and highlights. I'm going to take that, do the more options, get rid of all the shadows, okay, and then just add some highlights here. Okay. So you can just sort of play around and see what it looks like. Just gives a bit more color there. Hit OK. And the very last thing that we're going to do is we are going to add a filter for the oil painting, just to finish it up here. So I'm going to go under Stylize and Oil Paint, And you can sort of see here, I hit preview, and you can sort of see what's going on in there. And it gives you that little bit of a cartoon look. Okay, so depending on what you want, you can just play around and see it. And it makes it give it a hand-drawn look. Obviously, there's a little bit of a problem there. I might fix that up just after. But you can play around with these and try to get it to look like a drawing that some of you might have done. Okay? And that's basically the caricature. Okay, now I'm going to fix up this bottom layer first though, just while we've got a little bit of time. So what I could probably do here is take my brush and add a layer mask. So I'm going to put my layer mask on there. I'm going to take a brush. So where's my brush here? I'm going to reduce my opacity to about 30% or so, somewhere in there. And I'm just going to come along this edge and see if I can brush away this line. And as you can see, that's much better. There we go. And basically that just integrates it there. What I've done is, because I've put the opacity to 30%, as I go over it, it's not black and white, it's more shades of gray, and then that lets you blend the two layers. And you know, just by doing that, it's almost seamless. So if I went back and redid those steps again, so let me actually do that. I'm going to delete this guy. I'm going to make a new layer. Control Alt Shift E puts it all into that layer. I can go back, add the highlights. So Image, Adjustments, Highlights, Shadows, turn down the shadows, play up the highlights. Okay, play it around, whatever. Okay, and then your last step there, filter, stylize, oil paint, and then choose what you want to choose there. Okay. And there we have it. We have our caricature. So good luck with yours.